Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of District 79 Webinars, Leading Ladies, Lessons Learned on Our Journey with international leaders DTM Teresa Dukes and DTM Victoria Ferrer Mustafa. And I'm so delighted that we're having this special session today. I am DTM Akanke, District 79 Webinar Manager, and on behalf of our district leaders, District Director Abdullah Sharif, who will be with us today, Program Quality Director DTM Rashid Ali, and Club Growth Director DTM James Taruk. We are delighted that you are all here. Let me go ahead with the formal introduction of our guest presenters today. First, we have DTM Teresa Dukes, who is from Ipswich, Suffolk in the United Kingdom, and is a speaker, trainer, and coach at Dukes Consultancy, a company she founded in May 2009. She is certified as a world-class speech coach. She helps individuals achieve their personal objectives and reach their full potential. Her clients include CEOs, apprentices, high school students, and small to medium-sized enterprises. DTM Dukes also works as an associate trainer for Speakers Trust, a charitable public speaking organization that specializes in training and educating the not-for-profit and community sectors. Teresa studied at King's College in Charlotte, North Carolina in the U.S. and earned a diploma in secretarial science. She continued her education to study marketing, geographical analysis, and project management. She worked as a corporate director before becoming an entrepreneur. She's been a Toastmaster for 16 years and has been a member of her home club, Speak Easy, at Martlesham in Martlesham, England, since 2004. She has held a number of high-profile leadership positions within Toastmasters and has attained the Distinguished Toastmaster designation, which is the highest level of achievement in the organization. DTM Teresa says that Toastmasters means courage, opportunity, and challenge. The courage to share ideas where they are heard, the opportunity to develop skills at your own pace, and the challenge to help others grow. She says together, a Toastmaster not only grows personally and professionally, but is always ready and able to grow their communities and businesses as well. As a member of the Toastmasters International Board of Directors, DTM Teresa is a working ambassador for the organization. She works with the board to develop and modify the policies and procedures that guides Toastmasters International in fulfilling its mission. DTM Teresa, welcome to the webinar. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for that wonderful introduction.
You're welcome. And next we have DTM Victoria Ferrer Mustafa. DTM Vicky, as I'm hopeful that I can call you DTM Vicky on the session today. Thank you. DTM Vicky is the Region 11 advisor covering Britain and Ireland, the Middle East, Europe, South and West Africa for for this year, 2015-2016. She is the past District 20 governor covering 7 countries: Bahrain, Jordan, Kuwait, Lebanon, Oman, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. District 20 is the biggest district in the world, and under her leadership in 2013-2014, it ranked number 8 among the President's Distinguished District recipients. And during her term, District 20 was among 3 that received the President's Extension Award among 95 districts. That's wonderful. She was the first certified international professional trainer for managers, or CIPTM, to hold that title in Jordan, and she is currently taking up her PhD degree in communications. She has a master's in development communication and graduated top in her class. She from the University of the Philippines and has a Bachelor of Arts in Behavioral Science and graduated with honors at De La Salle University in the Philippines. DTM Vicky is a corporate trainer and a personality development coach for adults, teens, and children in the Middle East. She has conducted soft skills to the admissions staff and management in the education city in universities like Georgetown University, Texas A&M University, Weill Cornell, Carnegie Mellon, and Virginia Commonwealth University, the latter from the years 2003 to 2011 in Doha, Qatar. She is the CEO of a nonprofit company called SICAP, SICAP, which stands for Social Integration for the Community of Action-Oriented People. The company is based in Jordan and is organizing and conducting charitable projects for orphans, widows, abused women, refugees, and the physically challenged children. She is also a training consultant for IAID, the International Academy for Intercultural Development in Doha, Qatar, since 2003. She is on her way to becoming a DTM for the third time. She has an undying passion for Toastmasters and loves helping people change their lives for the better. Her story was included in the book compiled by Cheryl Roche, a prominent Toastmaster and trainer, called The Heart of a Toastmaster. She recently conducted a successful educational workshop for District 71 in the UK and Ireland on leadership in a multicultural environment, which we hope she'll present that for us in the coming months. All of her children and their spouses are Toastmasters. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you, DTM Vicky, for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me. It is my pleasure.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Now, let me also introduce from our side our distinguished Toastmaster District Director, Abdullah Sharif, who is an amazing leader and our CEO, if you will, of the district. And I'd like to introduce him by getting to his bio quickly. Excuse me. Okay, DTM Abdullah has served Toastmasters for the last 11 years. He went through all the leadership positions, starting from Sergeant at Arms back in 2004, all the way to District Director, which he serves in that capacity this year. He likes he likes excellence and does not accept less than excellence, and has a clear vision and determination for achieving excellence. He is also a believer in diversity. He says people from diverse and multinational professionals join Toastmasters for many different reasons. And he believes the role of district officers is to make sure that TMI goals are met. As we are all different and seek different outcomes from our Toastmasters experience, it is important to acknowledge this diversity and to use it to our advantage. He is proud to be our district director. DTM District Director Abdullah Sharif, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, DTM Makanki.
Awesome. So great to have you all. And I'll just introduce myself by saying that I am the 2014-2015 Toastmaster of the Year for our district, and I am the current district webinar manager. I am the immediate past president for a club I founded for women only called the Dhahran Women's Toastmasters Club. I am also, and it's the first women's club in Division M in its 35-year history, and I'm the first female DTM to earn DTM for Division M in its 35-year history also. It's my pleasure to be here with you all today, and we'll go ahead and get started with this topic, Leading Ladies, Lessons Learned on Our Journey. And the first thing we're going to do is first I want to check in with our attendees to make sure they can see our screen and they can hear me fine. And I would like for you to just post a hello or how are you doing or something in the window. Okay. No response. Let's see here what's going on. Okay, can you all hear me? Yes, thanks for the seminar. All right, thank you. Toastmaster Priya, Toastmaster Rajiva, Toastmaster Azalba, thank you all for responding. Wonderful. So let's move ahead. The first part will be a 30-minute or approximately 30-minute interview with our two special guests. DTM Abdullah and I have developed some questions for them. I want to tell our participants how they can participate by, first of all, raising their hand if they have a question. I will open your mic at an appropriate time, and you can speak your question or your comment once your mic is opened. You can also type a question in the question window, and at an appropriate time, I will read your question or your comment out loud for you. We will also have some polling during the session. So when you see a poll that looks something like this, can you all still hear me?
Yes, we are hearing you.
Okay, because I just got a notice on my screen that said that my connection was lost. Okay, all right, so I just want to make sure everybody can still hear me. All right, Toastmaster Rizaldo, if you're still there, can you tell me if you can still hear me? Okay, yes, wonderful. Thank you all so much. I don't know why this message is still showing up. Okay, so we will also do some polling. So when you see a poll pop up on your screen, you have 30 seconds to reply, and we will share the results of the polling with all of the attendees and have a little bit of conversation around that. So that will be happening periodically as well. So our guests today are DTM Teresa Dukes and DTM Ferrer Mustafa, and we'll go ahead and begin with questions for them. I think the first thing that we'd like to know, if you could just summarize for us what your roles are, because a lot of members don't really understand leadership roles beyond the club sometimes, and certainly not beyond the district. So can you tell us what your roles are? And we'll start with you first, DTM Teresa, since you are at the highest level in terms of the hierarchy for our organization.
Okay, thank you. Well, this is like going back to the convention and being interviewed all over again, because that's one of the questions that everybody asks. What is it? What is it all about to be an international director? And the international director role is a strategic role. It is one where you first have to actually reach a certain level within the organization. You have to have served as a district director, what it is called now, before you can run a campaign to be elected to the board as an international director. It is a strategic role. We look at the policy and the procedures that we as an organization use and the bylaws that we follow in order to ensure we are reaching the objectives of our members. So we're very much in the workings of how we're going to strategically go forward with this organization, ensuring that we are taking account of what our members are wanting and what they would like to see in the future. So in a nutshell, it's all about strategy and vision.
Okay, awesome. And DTM Vicky, can you tell us what your role is, please?
Thank you. And Kanka, if the international director is more on the strategic side, I am more on the operational side. The region advisors will helps the districts expand their marketing abilities and fulfill the district mission. So I'm always in touch with District Director Abdullah, Program Quality Director Rashid, our Club Growth Director James, and of course the Public Relations Manager Johnny Jean, because I like to always coordinate with them regarding the district success, where we build on club growth and marketing, building marketing or building membership. Okay. So this is my role, and I'm really happy to do the region advisors role.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Didi Abdallah, I would like for you to chime in and ask any question that you'd like to ask and greet them as you would like to now. I apologize, I should have asked your permission first, but go ahead, please, with any opening remarks you have for DTM Teresa and DTM Vicky.
Okay, thank you, DTM Makanki, for having this session conducted today. And first of all, I would like to welcome both DTM Teresa Dukes, the International Director for Region 11, and DTM Victoria Mustafa, Region Advisor for Region 11, and thanking both of them for accepting our invitation to be part of our session today. That will definitely help our members and our leaders to grow up beyond their leadership positions as of today, either the club offices or the area directors, division directors, or even in the district positions. Mm-hmm. So thank you very much for accepting and being with us today.
Yes. Our pleasure.
Our pleasure.
So I want to start out. Sorry, go ahead.
Yes.
Anna.
Go ahead.
I was going to say I want to start out with a poll. We would like to find out the makeup of the attendees in the audience. So we've come up with a question to find out if we have male or female Toastmasters, or what the percentage is amongst the attendees who are with us thus far. So can you tell us if you see the poll on your screen now? Are you a male or female Toastmaster? All right, we'll give you 20 seconds left to cast your vote. And 75% have voted. 10 seconds. Okay, so we're going to close the poll now and show the results. Our audience today so far is 56% female and 44% male. Thank you all for being
Oh,
yeah.
great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you all for being here.
Mhm.
All right, so I'm going to hide the results now and go back to our questions. So we have some questions for you all. I'd like to ask a question, thinking back to your very first Toastmasters experience. If you can remember that, what was most memorable about your first Toastmasters meeting, and did you ever imagine years later you would be serving on an international level? And I'll go with you first, DTM Teresa.
My first memory of walking through the door of a Toastmasters club will be emblazoned on my mind forever, because I remember the feeling I had. It was frightening, it was exciting, it was challenging, and when I walked through the door, everybody made me feel so welcome. So eventually, all of the nerves and the frightened little mouse that I was started to pass away. But what I realized on that first day was, I say yes to opportunities, because when I walked through the door, they introduced this thing called table topics, which I had no idea what that was all about. All I knew was I wanted to come in and watch, and then they made me stand up and speak. And they didn't ask me after somebody else had already delivered the first table topic. They asked me to be the first one, and I had no idea what on earth they wanted me to do. And I said, no. And they proceeded to ask me again 3 times. And I figured after the third time, there was no way I could say no a third time. So I bit the bullet, and I stood up and I delivered. I lasted 37 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted the floor to open up and swallow me. But what that did for me is it made me stronger. It made me realize that if I said yes, that nothing bad was really going to happen. It was an opportunity to learn. It was a chance to grow and to develop the skills that I really wanted to develop. Did I think that I would be where I am today? No. On that particular day, all I really wanted to do was get through the end of the meeting and be able to come back with fresh breath and do it again.
Right.
But I think the road to leadership really kind of sunk in with me a little bit further into my journey. I remember thinking that being a DTM was beyond my grasp, but it isn't.
Right.
Thank you. It's not beyond.
And DTM Vicky, your most memorable aspect of your first Toastmasters meeting?
Well, mine was a different experience because I had a friend in Jordan. We just, moved from Qatar. My husband just resigned from a job in Qatar, and we came back to Jordan. And there was this, the wife of the Philippine ambassador invited me to a meeting, and there was another lady a Filipina who said, would you like to read this magazine? And I found out it was Toastmasters magazine, and she told me, we want to charter, or we want to organize a club here. So I read it in the evening, and the next morning I called her and I said, I want to organize a club with you.
Wow.
And that moment I knew that it was going to change my life. I became the president founder of the first all-women's Toastmasters club in Jordan in 1999. So I was really glad, because that changed the course of my life. Thanks to Toastmasters.
Awesome. That's very interesting. You read a magazine and decided you wanted to start a club.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And so those of you who are, reading the magazines, keep reading them, because you can always start a club that way.
Yeah, there's so much inspiration. There's so much inspiration in those magazines. Sometimes they just stack up, but
Yes,
they're a wealth of information. Great. So
that's
when did
true.
you know you were on a leadership trajectory? DTM Teresa, you said that even DTM at some point was not even fathomable to you. So at some point you realized, do you remember that moment when you realized you were on that leadership track, or did it just gradually happen? I know for me, it gradually happened. I didn't set a goal to become a DTM, for example. I just set a goal to get my CC and then my ACB, but I wasn't thinking about DTM. Did you all have similar experiences?
So you're starting with me.
Starting with
Um,
DTM Vicky. I'll
All
start.
right. When I moved to Qatar, well, while my husband was working there, they just pushed me to the presidency and then area governor and division governor. I really didn't know that from that time, because I had to balance my life as a wife. I was married to a Jordanian, and I was working at the same time, and I had children who were teenagers. But what I did was I did a compromise with my husband, because he didn't want me to join a club where they're all men and I was the only woman.
Mm-hmm.
So what I used to do was bring my son along to attend these Toastmasters meetings so that my husband could establish the trust.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, my God, I was so determined. And when my husband passed away, may God rest his soul, I decided I'm going to embark on this leadership journey, because this is the best thing I could do. Instead of getting depressed and just, staying in my room,
Mm-hmm.
let me go and reach out to the community. So that's when I decided I'm going to really take up the leadership challenge.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay, thank you. Anything different from you, DTM Teresa, or that you'd like to add about?
um,
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yes, I approached the leadership side of it in a different for different reasons.
Okay.
I was going through some big changes in my life, and I knew if I were going to be able to make these drastic changes, which was a total turnaround in the way that I lived, that I needed to be heard, understood, and remembered. And to do that, Toastmasters obviously helped me get that confidence, gain the confidence that it took to do it. But I knew that there was something else that was holding me back from making these big decisions, and that was being able to lead. And it wasn't gradual. It became obvious that this was something I could do, and I had a lot of people behind me saying, Teresa, we see you, we see the potential that you have. We
Mm-hmm.
need you to step up. And so by being encouraged by other people who could see what I had inside, that's when it became very obvious that not only letting them push me, but actually saying yes to that opportunity.
Okay, great. So as women, we have busy lives. We are often multitasking in our family life, professional life. Sometimes we're students and getting higher education, and we are masters at multitasking. How busy is your life on a scale from 1 to 10, and how do you balance it whenever the scale tips in one direction too much? DTM Teresa?
Right. We are also busy because we all have, I would say I have a family, so I have two adult children, but they never leave you. It's like they're not just for Christmas, they're with you for life. So it's really important that we're able to prioritize our time. How busy I am out of a range of 1 to 10, I'd say I'm definitely a 9 or a 10, but I have ways that I organize my time to ensure that I'm spending time with my daughter and her husband, that I can also spend time with my son, to work with my friends, to ensure that we're able to do the things that we want to do, as well as carrying out my own profession and working on the board of directors. So it's finding a prioritized, organized diary. I think that's my trick. I organize my diary so that even if I'm just going to go and visit my friends, it's in the diary so nothing else takes over. It's all about managing your time.
Balancing and managing, sure. And DTM Vicky, your family has a lot of Toastmasters. You said all your children and their spouses are
Yes.
Toastmasters.
Yes, they are. They are. I should say on a scale from 1 to 10, I'm an 11 because yeah, I have five children, and I will be having the third grandchild on February. But making sure that from the beginning, since I joined Toastmasters and embarked in my career, I made sure that everything was balanced. I could remember when my husband was alive, I would always cook the best food for him, make sure the house was in order, make sure my children were fed, and then I go to my work and to Toastmasters. And that way, my children and my family would always say, God bless Toastmasters. It was not like a negative thing, but more of a positive thing. And this is what I would always recommend to our fellow Toastmasters. Always create a balanced life. And I always plan for everyday chores and for the weekly chores, so that I'm sure that everything is balanced in terms of time management. I make sure that I'm with my children. We have a once a week meeting where we thresh out any challenges, any good news, and all of that. Always in communication. And the same thing with the working as a region advisor, with friends, with relatives. You just have to connect with all of them, because at the end of the day, you sleep peacefully because you know that you have done the job during the 24 hours that's given to you by God.
Sure,
So
sure.
that's what I can say.
Great, thank you. Didi Abdullah, would you like to chime in and ask a question? I know you had a few questions that you wanted to ask, and feel free to ask any of them now.
Okay, thank you, DTM Makanki, and I would appreciate if DTM Fiki could speak in Arabic sometimes for our audience.
السلام عليكم. ان شاء الله كلكم كويسين. معلش لحج بتاعي من اردن، انه جوزي الله يرحمه من اردن، بس انا مبسوطه وكثير فرحانه انا معاكم اليوم، وان شاء الله هذا الويبينار بيصير يعني كويس عليكم، وان شاء الله بتستفيد من هذا الويبينار ان شاء الله باذن الله.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, DTM Fiki. Just the first question I would like to ask both of them about the difference between the leadership of gents and leadership of ladies. Is there any difference between both? If we have leadership as a man or woman?
Thank you. DTM Teresa, would you like to take that one first? This is a table topics moment.
Absolutely. So is leadership with a man or a woman different? Do they differ? I think leadership in itself is a quality that anybody can do if they have the skills and they build their integrity throughout their time. Understanding that leadership is all about having the ability to inspire people, and I think a man and a woman both have that ability to inspire, to motivate, and to lead, as long as they have the integrity behind them. Without integrity, it's really difficult to have people follow you, and it's if we are going to encourage and empower everyone to reach that leadership goal, it's important for them to start out on the right track. So I think the way in which a man and a woman lead may vary, because when we look at females, we see them in a nurturing and a mothering sort of role. I was speaking to some people last week, and they're going, women like to share, men like to solve. And I think that might be a little bit of the difference in the way that a man or a woman approaches leadership. But I believe that everybody has the ability to do it, as long as they have the skill set, and that we can learn in this experiential environment that we're in Toastmasters.
Thank you, DTM Teresa. DTM Vicky?
I believe that men and women complement each other. And in this way, in Toastmasters, there are men leaders, women leaders. And I always say that, like, for example, if I want to make any decision, I would always consult the men in my team because they would always be more realistic. For me, as a woman, I'm so, how do you say, idealistic, and sometimes I'm too excited, ambitious, and then the men will say, hey, your feet should be stuck on the ground, be realistic, and get back to the reality of life. And this is what we've always done. There's always teamwork among men and women, and being in this kind of leadership, we're always privileged that men and women can contribute to the best of their ability, because two heads are always better than one. This is what I can say.
Awesome. Thank you. Another question from you, Didi Abdallah?
Yes, I have another question to DTM Teresa. She mentioned in her answer that integrity is one integral part of the leadership. What does it mean, integrity in Toastmasters, as it is one of our values or the first value of our Toastmasters? How can we link the integrity with the leadership in Toastmasters in particular?
Right. Okay. So when I was asked that question during the interviews, not this past year, but previous, even throughout the years I've been within the organization, everybody says, what are the four values and which one is the most important? So we have respect, integrity, service, and excellence. And I used to say that they were all important, that they all went hand in hand. They do work hand in hand, but out of all four of those values, integrity has to be the top of the list. And the reason for that is because if we don't have integrity, the others definitely will not follow. So we have to live our lives in a way that shows that we can sleep at night. We've done the right thing. We know what's the difference between right and wrong. If we see something that is going badly wrong and we know that it needs to be stopped or fixed or changed, then we need to have the courage to put our hand up and say, hey, that's not right. We need to stop this and backtrack and make sure that we're using integrity as the core value within everything that we do. So it's not just something that we use in Toastmasters. It's something that has to be embedded in our lives, in the way that we live our lives inside Toastmasters and outside Toastmasters. Without that integrity, the leadership won't follow. We can have a leader without integrity, but they will not be followed because people will see the difference of the energy. The energy is completely different. The ability to engage with that individual will be totally different to someone who has integrity. So I think it's important that everything that you do, whether you're a club officer, you're an area director, a division director, a district director, you need to be able to put your hand on your heart and say, I can sleep well tonight because I know I've given my best and it's the right way to do it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you all so much. Didi Abdallah, I think we're going to go now to the presentations and we'll get back to other questions afterwards. This session is about them telling us the lessons they've learned, and they have developed presentations to tell their story. And we're going to start with DTM Vicky's story first because she has another engagement that she has to be at. So I'm going to go to your presentation now, DTM Vicky, so that you can move forward with your presentation. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm more than ready. Thank you so much, DTM Akanke.
You're welcome.
So today I'm going to talk about my leadership journey, and I have divided it into 4 parts. First of all, the discovery of Toastmasters, and then the challenges that I have faced, the super positive experience that I have on this journey, and my path to the leadership. So discovering Toastmasters was, as I mentioned before, was something unique where I was just sort of placed in the position of being the charter president and founder of the first Toastmasters Club. I really didn't know what I was getting into because I didn't have the full knowledge of Toastmasters. But somehow behind me or in my guts, I said, this must be something good.
Excuse me one
And I
second,
did.
Vicky. Just let me know when I should show each slide because I'm not sure which
Yes,
turn. So,
yes, I will.
okay.
Right. So the there were the challenges that I had faced in introducing Toastmasters in Jordan. First of all, they thought that Toastmasters was like we were selling toasters. If you remember, there was this group of people who were selling Tupperwares, and these were plastic containers for food, and they thought that we were selling the same thing. Secondly, they thought that we were a cult movement, and it was challenging because we had to actually convince them that this was a Toastmasters public speaking organization, a nonprofit organization where everybody would benefit. And that way we were able to convince the women, and some of them were wives of the ministers, some of them were the members of the United Nations, some of them were wives of the ambassadors. We decided that we were going to charter an all women's club, and it was something that was really beneficial. Until today we have about 60 members, and you will be surprised, at least 40% of them are women above 70 years old, because they were the same women who were there during the chartering, and they have discovered the beauty of Toastmasters, and they have stayed on as Toastmasters. So it was difficult for me because, again, I said that my husband could not accept the fact that when we moved to Qatar, coming from Jordan, now it was more of an all men's club instead of an all women's club where I was the only woman member. But I was so determined to join the Toastmasters Club because I felt that it really helped me develop myself and develop my personality. So I compromised with my husband and made sure that my poor 10-year-old son was there with me in every meeting. And he was an amazing child because at that time he never showed me any resistance. He would come with me and he would join, and he would be having his Game Boy, playing his Game Boy, and wait until the 2-hour meeting finished. And after a year, my husband said, okay, you can go. I trust this man. I trust Toastmasters. You can do it. It was the beginning of a journey where I again founded 2 more Toastmasters Club in Jordan. One was another all-women Toastmasters Club, and the second one was a mixed Toastmasters Club. And from that time on, I became an area governor and then a division governor. Another challenge was being in a multicultural environment where you had to deal with at least 20, 25 nationalities. Each one had their way of, their culture, their language was different. I would be a Filipina thinking in the Filipino way and then speaking in English. Whereas an Arab would think in an Arabic way and speak in English. Sometimes there were miscommunication. However, I was able to embrace the cultural differences, and I had to know more about the different communities. We had the Indian community, we had the Bangladesh community, Sri Lankan community, British, American, different types of communities where I learned so much from them. And you grew up as a leader. And then we also go to another challenge where leaders had different agenda. So unfortunately, we cannot all think in the same manner. Some leaders would think that it's me first before the members. So what is what's in it for me rather than what's in it for them. So we had to somehow convince these types of leaders that in Toastmasters, after receiving we give back, we pay forward. And as you mentioned, our district director mentioned, it's all about integrity. How we could convince our leaders and members to abide by our core values. You see, sometimes when we are in a hurry to achieve our education awards, we want to always achieve it through a shortcut. There is no such thing as a shortcut, because if we are going against integrity, this is a no-no. And at the end of the day, whoever is against integrity, whoever did it in the shortcut, will always be discovered. I always believe that as leaders, we are always under a microscopic eye. And we have to be role models. In order to be a role model, you have to be a good person inside your home. And you have to be the same person outside your home. Sometimes I would always say, how do you check a person who has good deeds inside or outside the home? Ask the person who's living with him or her inside the home, how is she or how is he? And that's the only time you can know. There is no such thing as a split personality. There is no such thing as having two personalities at the same time, because at the end, you will always be discovered. So I believe that integrity is a very important core value that we should all live by. And with this, I would like to say that there were many challenges, and these were the highlights of the challenges. I always say challenges are always opportunities, because without these challenges, I don't think I could have grown up. I don't think I could have matured, and I don't think I could have developed myself as a leader. Because for any challenge, even living in Jordan is already a challenge itself. Mm-hmm. Driving in Jordan and seeing the tension and stress of the people around you because of the situation, you learn to deal with it and you learn to accept it. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, you are the person who decides whether you can live with such a situation and just embrace it and accept. Mm-hmm. So I learned to accept these challenges. And by learning how to accept challenges, I had super positive experience. And DTM Akanke, would you like to show some photos of my super positive experience in dealing with the multicultural
we're showing
community in Toastmasters? Yeah, mm-hmm. That's the first photo. Where this is called the CCAP Toastmasters Club. This is a club which is quite unique because we also deal with the giving communication workshops for the refugees here in Jordan. So one of our projects was to give a communication workshop for the refugees, the women from Gaza, and they are stationed here in the Jerash camp. And the highlight was that the husbands and the children were very happy that we had given this kind of an opportunity for their wives and mothers. We always say, if you educate a mother or educate a woman, we will always it will educate the nation. Mm-hmm. And so we are also dealing with other kinds of projects similar to this, and just give a community reach out and using the Toastmasters in this way. The next one is the district council meeting, where you can see we have, of course, different nationalities. I was the district director or district governor, and you can imagine the kind of cultural differences we had, but in the end, we all were one in achieving the mission of the district, and I was so thankful. To mention that when they were, Toastmasters International was trying to get the applicants for the region advisor, this is one lesson learned, that they take surveys and they want to know from the leaders under you how you performed as a leader. And I was just happy to say that I was told that I excelled well in the survey because again we all live by being role models. And the last one was just my last trip to, well, my first and last trip to Nigeria, which was about a week back or more than a week back, where it was my first time, and it was so fulfilling because there is such a great, how would you say, enthusiasm for Toastmasters clubs. Lagos is a commercial district, and when we go through one street, we start counting, oh, there can be about 20 corporate clubs in Lagos. So I was given the opportunity as a region advisor to work with the Nigerians in Lagos and Abuja, and I am so thankful. And I really hope that we could fulfill the mission of Toastmasters more by club growth and membership building in Nigeria. So those are my part of my positive experience, showing you the visuals, the pictures of having this journey. And what would you say, like, if the question was, what did you learn in your journey in the Toastmasters? First thing I learned is to adjust my leadership skills and knowledge according to the needs of the members. We cannot just stick to one belief and say, okay, I'm going to do this because this is what I believe and this is what I'm going to do. I remembered when I gave birth to my first baby, and they gave me a book on Dr. Spock. And they said, so you see, this is what you should read and this is what you should deal with and how to take care or nurture your baby. It didn't work because there is no such thing as regulations and policies on how to lead your members. For every folk, there is a different stroke. And you just have to keep upgrading, learning more and giving more, and making sure that whatever leadership style you have will fit the needs of the members. I embrace diversity because this is what it's all about. Toastmasters knows no gender, knows no nationality, knows no religion, and knows no politics. We are all one because we are all under the flag of Toastmasters. I could say that my family is a multicultural one themselves because my two eldest daughters who are stationed or who live in California are married to American Filipinos. My third daughter, she lives in London and she's married to a British. My eldest son is married to a Syrian, and he discovered her through Toastmasters. And my youngest son is married to a Malaysian South African. So within my family, I have the United Nations. And and I should say that through that also helps me embrace diversity. We learn how to accept the cultural differences among us. And I always say, there in diversity, there is always unity. Mm-hmm. I was hired in various American universities, as mentioned by DTM Akanki, in Qatar, all because I belong to the Toastmasters movement. They considered that like an American university. Oh, so you are from Toastmasters, so we are now giving you the privilege of teaching our students in the different universities. And that was something I didn't realize, how important Toastmasters is in the different parts of the world. When of course in the US, it's a very famous or popular uh, organization, and when you say you're a Toastmaster, everybody just happy. And by the way, if you're a Toastmaster member and you go and visit any part of the world, there are about 146 countries now that have Toastmasters. You will always be welcomed with a red carpet treatment. And you realize that you have an extended family all over the world. Mm-hmm. And I climbed up the ladder of leadership as the president, area governor, division governor, district governor, and now RA, by learning and improving myself to be a better leader. There is nothing as pride. There's nothing as having an ego, because at the end of the day, it is really being accepting to everything and being open-minded to others' opinions. There is no such thing as I am always right and yours is the wrong method or opinion. As we said, we have different ideas, and if we always compromise and look for the best, the opportunity is really what is the best that we can do for our members. As you all know, we are under an inverted pyramid where the members are our bosses. Teresa and I in the bottom of the pyramid. Am I right, Teresa? Because the members matter the most. Currently, I'm managing an NGO company, and it's really fulfilling because I am using my Toastmaster skills in being able to persuade the women to fight and to go for their rights, because a lot of them still don't know the divorce rights, the inheritance rights, and it is time for us to help them and to really be of assistance to them.
Thank you.
And at the end of the day, we are all, like, I am a trainer, and again, because of my Toastmaster skills, I'm able to reach out with a friendly and positive way of dealing with the children, the teenagers, and the women, because we are here to change the people's lives. We are here for a mission. We have taken so much. We have improved ourselves thanks to Toastmasters, and it is time to pay forward. So with the positive, how do you say, experience, what's the wisdom that I have gained? And I would like to share my wisdom with all of you. Do you have a vision? Do you have something that you look forward to? My vision is to be a leader and public speaker for the next 30 years. Inshallah, God will allow me, and to be of support to others in need. And we should accept the challenges and appreciate the experience. People used to laugh with me when I used to tell them, my tagline is enjoy being upset. And they said, are you crazy? How can you enjoy being upset? But you know, I have been struggling through life from the first challenge until today. And I go back and say, yes, I did, because I learned so much. If you don't have a challenge, then there must be something wrong with your life. Look for a challenge, and then you will learn from it. Never back out from a commitment you have made unless it's an unavoidable emergency situation. Because as a leader, nobody will trust you or nobody will rely on you if you give your word and then after a few days say, oh, I can't make it. You always have to try your best or find out a substitute. If you really cannot make it, find out what can be a substitute to make that commitment come true. Create a balance among your family, your work, your personal life, and Toastmasters, and you will be a happier person. Remove that stress from your life. It's not worth it, because a stressful life will give us an unhealthy life, and this will affect our body and our mind. Think of how lucky we are in life and how we can pay forward. Today, I find myself lucky, alhamdulillah, because I am able to pay forward, and I know that we are all making a difference in other people's life. For a mother or a wife or a husband to thank you for giving, for mentoring a wife or a husband and making her life or his life a better life. What happiness can it give us? And at the same time, money is nothing compared to the mentoring that you are giving and to the life that you are helping to improve. A leader would always start with referring back to our core values. And this is something I love about Toastmasters, because we live with the core values of integrity, respect, dedication to excellence, and service to the members. I remember very clearly in my Toastmasters journey that it will continue, and remember, whatever you do today would influence your destination. Forget about the mistakes you had done in the past. Appreciate that failures are lessons to learn to be a better person. When my husband passed away, and it's going to be the 6th anniversary on December 21, Allah yarhamu, may God rest his soul, I had the choice to remain depressed or reach out to the community through Toastmasters. I opted for the second choice because I became more active in the Toastmasters with the full support of my children. And I remember the second day of my husband's death, my oldest son, Ahmad, he came to me and said, "Mom, you can get married again. Don't worry." And I got shocked. I said, "What's wrong with this guy? He's my son and telling me to get married again." I gave him a shocked look and was perplexed. He smiled and said, "Mom, you can get married to Toastmasters." So today, my friends who know my story call me Mrs. Toastmasters or Mrs. Smedley. My dear fellow Toastmasters, enjoy your journey, enjoy the challenges, and I am sure you will be able to achieve your vision with flying colors. I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, DTM.
Over to you, DTM Akanke.
Thank you so much. Do you have just a minute to take a question? There's a question that's been posed. If you could take one before you leave, or do you need to leave?
Yes, please.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. We have two questions, and there's one that I think would be great for you to answer. I'll go to that one first. It says, as Toastmasters clubs are culturally diverse in membership, what training programs are being planned by TMI that develops skills in intercultural communication and political correctness?
I believe that we should actually create these kinds of training programs within our culture because we know the culture better than the Toastmasters. So like what I have actually done, I had given one in District 71. I created it myself based on my experience. And for example, in Saudi Arabia, you could be able to get authorities on the cultural issues and find out what are the challenges and how will you be able to deal with it. I think if you make your own local training, it will be the best because this is based on experience.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I know you'll have to leave. Let's just check in with Didi Abdallah to see if he has any question for you before you leave. Didi Abdallah, would you like to ask DTM Vicky anything before she leaves?
I would like to thank her very much for being with us this time, and we know that she is busy with the different engagements. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, and thank you to all of you from District 79. This is such a wonderful opportunity for letting us reach out to you, and I hope that I could visit Saudi Arabia, inshallah, sometime soon. It all depends on District Director Abdullah. And as we say, fi amanillah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's our pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Now, before we go to DTM Teresa, let's take some other questions. We have a question. By the way, that last question was from Toastmaster Priya Abraham. Thank you so much, Priya, for your question. Now we have a question by Toastmaster Muhammad Al-Khalfan. He's asking, what was the most difficult task that you overcame during your leadership era? Or put another way, on your leadership journey, what has been the most difficult thing you've had to deal with? DTM Teresa, can you answer that for us, please?
Yes, this was an interesting question. I really like it because we take on leadership positions and we believe that everything is going to be smooth running and everything is going to go according to plan. But I think in my experience that's never the case. I was asked after I was district director or district governor to take on the role of the reformation chair. So within District 71, it had grown to a potential it had over 270 clubs, and it got to the point where it needed to be split. It needed to be twinned, I guess you could say, to have two successfully sustainable and successful districts. And they said, Teresa, you know all about our district. You know everything that there is to know. You have to be the chair for this committee. And I thought, okay, fine, absolutely wonderful, I'll do it. And you know, again, it's that pushing, encouraging you to get out of your comfort zone. And I can tell you that was probably the biggest challenge I came up against throughout my entire 16 years in the organization. Because when you start to split a family, and that's what we are as a district. We are a big family. When you start to split it into different sections, people get upset. People go very emotional on you, and they don't realize that you're not trying to tear things apart. You're actually trying to build stronger communities in smaller areas so that you can grow even further. During that particular year of running that committee, my integrity was questioned. I was being slandered on public forums. I was it was venomous. It was horrible. And you sit there and you think, it's like Vicki said, you can sit there and be depressed, and you can go into yourself and just say, I can walk away. I don't need this in my life. Or you can stand up for yourself. Look at it where, as leaders, we have to take a step back sometimes. We have to take a step back and go, take the emotion away. Don't take it personally, because a lot of the animosity that was going on wasn't really personal. It was anger, it was frustration, and a misunderstanding of what was really trying to be accomplished. So if we take a step back and take the emotion away, then we can look at it from a business point of view. And I understand that you guys are rather large in Saudi Arabia, so it's a very good possibility that there will be people in your district that will be called upon to help divide and twin your district into two really successful districts. And my piece of advice there would be, say yes to the opportunity, but be prepared. Be prepared to put on that business hat, because that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be making a business decision, and the emotion has to be kind of held at bay. You can vent to people outside and away from the committee, but it's ensuring that you don't dwell on the negative. Go for the positive and look at the best way forward for the members, and not for one particular small group. Look for the members overall. That was my biggest challenge.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us. And you're going to now tell us about the lessons that you've learned. I'm going to switch over to your screen and make you the presenter so that we can see your screen and your presentation. So I just sent you a notice. You should get it now.
Okay. Can you see it?
Yes, I can see it now. So you can start your slideshow.
Right. I just would like to say thank you so much for having me and giving me the opportunity to share some of the lessons that I learned during my past 16 years as a leader within our organization. I loved the lead up to this webinar, and I liked the title that you came up with, Akanke. It was wonderful to say, hey, leading ladies, and I have to admit, it has been an interesting journey, and I wanna start at the very beginning, because we all joined this organization for many different reasons, and we all start out in pretty much the same place. This is a baby bird, I say. It's actually a baby eaglet or a fledgling. And when we come into the organization, and what I did when I came in was I wanted to absorb and gain as much information and knowledge and skills as I could. And what I found was happening with me in particular was I would gather all this information around me, put it in my nest, and before you realized it, I was sitting on it and doing absolutely nothing. Because I had gone outside of my comfort zone. I had gained everything that I thought I needed, but then it was time. And I didn't realize it was time to step up on the edge of that nest until my mentor came to me. And I don't have one mentor. I have actually 5 different mentors. And they are people that encourage me, they push me, they make sure that I don't just sit back and wait, that I'm actually being proactive, and that if I see something that I can help with, then they make sure that I do it. So I jumped up onto the edge of the nest, and it was scary that first time, taking that first leadership position, even taking on the role of treasurer within my club was a bit daunting at the very beginning. But as soon as I did it, it became that the unknown became known. And I think that's really key in everything that we do. Being able to realize that until you do it, you don't know what you're capable of. So jump up on that nest and jump off. And that's what my mentors were doing. They were pushing me off that nest so that eventually I could fly. And not only fly, but soar. And I think that's the way I feel today. Like I have not just wind underneath my wings, I actually have every single person that has become a friend or a colleague during this 16-year journey. They're all there still, adding the wind under my wings to ensure that we as an organization are being led and directed in a way that our members want it to happen. So it's not doing it on your own. It's ensuring that everything that you do, you have people around you that are supporting you and encouraging you as you go. Like DTM Vicky said, every leader always comes back to our values, and they are a key element in every single Toastmaster's life. Having that integrity to stand up for what's right, respecting every individual that walks through the door, whether you like them or not. And there will be times when personality clashes do play a big part in what we experience. But knowing that you can still respect somebody even if you don't agree with everything that they say. We as an organization ensuring that we are providing a dedicated service to our members, ensuring that the education that we're giving them, the training that we're giving them is of an excellent nature, that we are actually providing the correct service for them. And everything that we do has to have an element of excellence to it. I really liked what Vicki was saying about, well, actually, the answer to the question. The question was the training on cultural differences. Are we as an organization looking at doing that? And I can answer in one swell swoop here. I'm on a committee that is looking at our training and our future training as an organization. And I would love to have a chat with anybody who would like to talk about distance learning, doing things exactly like what we're doing today on a more wider basis, so that internationally we are providing the correct training to our members and our leaders that they want, how they want it, and when they want it. So, and this all falls into our values. How can we go forward as an organization? And these values will help set that path. And we will follow it respectfully. Some of the areas that I wanted to talk about were some of the lessons that I had learned. And when you are a leader, whether you're in a club as a leader or you're in the area director's role, the division director's role, and even in DTM Abdullah's role as district director, one of the lessons that I learned quite quickly was to be a good listener. We all have great ideas, and we want to get them across as powerfully as possible. But there will be somebody that will be sitting in the back of the room who will be very quiet, and they will be observant, and they'll let all of the big voices be heard, and then they'll put their hand up, and the idea that they come out with will be amazing. And as long as we as leaders take that extra time to listen to everybody so that they know that their voice is being heard, then and only then will you be able to ensure that all of the ideas are being brought to the table, and not just your idea as that overall leader. And that was a lesson I had to learn really, really quickly, because I don't know about you, but I love coming up with ideas. I love to be able to say, hey, this is the perfect solution for what we're trying to accomplish, and then expecting everybody to buy into it. And quite quickly people realize that, no, Teresa, this isn't the best way, but if we add this to it and we change this, then maybe it will be even better. And as soon as you start to listen, then the power of our organization will actually comes forth. So be a good listener. When I put this picture up for many of the audiences that I stand up in front of, a lot of people see it as transparency. They see it as intrusion, and the whole point of it is an open door. It's an open door policy. When I took on the first leadership role, it became very apparent that a lot of people are looking for your time. They're looking to you for support. They're looking to you for ideas, and they're looking to you for encouragement. And I had to change the way in which I worked. Instead of being, oh, I'm sorry, I'm too busy to talk to you, it had to turn around to a point where if you aren't approachable, then people will stop coming and asking your opinion. They'll stop following you, and they'll stop being inspired by you. So we want to allow everybody the opportunity to have their voice heard, and being approachable is one of those key elements and key qualities that every leader should bring into their toolkit. Open that door. If somebody knocks on it and you're really busy, take 5 minutes. It's amazing what you can do in 5 minutes. I had a outside of my house, there's a path that goes in front of it. And there's a little lady that lives 2 doors down from me. And every day, this little lady would walk across the path in front of my house on her way to the shops. And I've been saying hello to her for probably about a year. But I never really got a chance to talk to her. And this one day, I was in the biggest hurry. I was absolutely desperate to get in my car and get to this meeting, because I was running behind. And I thought, I told them I was going to be there. I have to get there. So I'm like halfway in my car, and she walks past, and she says, hello. And I say hello back, and I'm thinking, hurry up and get past, because I've got to back my car out of the driveway, being really selfish as we are sometimes. But she stopped right behind my car, and she turned to me and she went, isn't it beautiful today? And I'm thinking, yes, it's wonderful. The sun is shining. It's a gorgeous day. Really nice to see you. I'll talk to you later. But she wasn't budging. She carried on with how gorgeous the weather was, and how lovely everything was outside of her world, and on her walk to the shops. And it became very apparent this woman was not going to move. And I I stopped and I got out of the car and I started to ask her, could I help her? Was she in need of anything? And she just stopped and she looked at me, put her hands on her hips, and said, Elsie. And I went, I'm sorry. And she went, Elsie, that's my name. And I hadn't realized that I didn't know her name, and I had been saying hello to her for over a year. And in that small amount of time, we spent 3 minutes finding a little bit more out about Elsie and her finding a little bit more out about me, to the point where she looked at me and she says, I'm really sorry. I've got to go. I've got to get to the shops. And she shut me down. But it was the light bulb moment where I realized, hey, spend a little bit of time, be approachable, and you will be amazed at who you get to know and who you and how you can live your life by opening up to someone who may not ever get to speak to anybody but you that day. So be approachable.
Thank you.
One of another really difficult lesson that many leaders have is we have to be decisive. There are many times where we have to make decisions, and I know that there were many times I didn't want to make decisions, and I was scared to make decisions. I was scared to be decisive. I wanted to pass the buck. I wanted somebody else to make those decisions. But there are going to be times when you are the person that has to make that decision. And instead of being afraid and frightened and nervous about it, this is the time when you dig down into that support team that you have. If you're being challenged and you think, I need to talk to somebody, I need to get another opinion on what's going on so that we can make that correct decision, then bring in your mentors, bring in that support, talk to your family as well. Because by trying to make a decision on your own, it doesn't always, it's not the right way to do it. It doesn't have the integrity to it, because like we said with Vicki and me earlier, the more voices you can bring into the mix, the better the decision will be. And the more you will be smiling and actually you'll be very comfortable then that the decision that has been made has been a powerful one. And I think that was something that happened with me when we were going through the Reformation within District 71. Like I said earlier in the answer to that question, it was one of the most challenging periods of my time as a leader. And it meant that I had to take a big step back and look at me, look at the way that I was being perceived, and in ensuring that, hey, have I missed something here? The decision that we as a committee had come to was one that we thought was the right one. We had given the district 3 different options on how to split the district into 2 sustainable future successful districts, and they didn't like it, and they pushed back hard on it and said, we need more consultation time. And as a committee, we thought we had given them enough time to do that, but it became very apparent that that wasn't, the decision hadn't been made in the right time. So by stepping back and reevaluating what they were saying, listening to their concerns, and then opening up a wider opportunity for more people, not all members, giving all members the opportunity to have their say, then that was a more inclusive and successful decision, because everybody felt like they were having a part in this big change that was going to come about. So having the courage to think, hey, we as a committee didn't make the right decision at the right time, and being willing to go back to the drawing board is always a good thing to think about when you're in that position. And think the final one, as a leader, we try to at times emulate other people, other leaders. We try to be that Barack Obama or that David Cameron, or a leader that we see in our own local areas. But the one thing that people will love about you is when you stand up and actually become yourself. Become the leader that you are trying to be. Become the leader that has the integrity and the respect and the service and the excellence to lead people, to encourage them, to engage with them at every single level, knowing that hey, if they came and knocked on your door, you'd be willing to open it to them and give them the shirt off your back. I think 2 years ago, when I ran for this particular post as international director 2 years ago, and as you know, Khaled Natsula was the individual that won that particular campaign 2 years ago, and I learned a really big lesson from that, because it's very important that we show the authentic person that we are, and don't be afraid to be vulnerable, because sometimes the really lovely ideas and gems of a leader come out when you show your vulnerability. And I think that was a really big lesson that I learned, even as small amount of time ago as 2 years. So those are just a few of the lessons that I think I've learned. Be a good listener. Be approachable when at every opportunity. Be decisive. Don't allow somebody else or don't want somebody else to do that. Actually own your power, own your own decisive opportunities, and be true to yourself. Be who you really are. That leader that we as an organization are helping make. So Toastmasters, where leaders are made.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, DTM Teresa, for sharing your lessons learned and giving us advice on being good listeners and being approachable and being able to make decisive or decisions in the moment and being ourselves. And it definitely is very important. One of the things that I learned a long time ago that really helped to shape my personal transformation is that I learned that people are only as comfortable with us as we are with ourselves, and how important it is for us to get comfortable with who we really are, to know ourselves and to have that kind of integrity, because that's the first integrity that we bring to anything else. The best integrity is to know who we are, so that when we're with other people, we can be authentically who we are. And it takes time to really, learn that. And especially when you come into multicultural environments, you want to be on some level, as DTM Vicky said, and you said also, be approachable and be adaptable without losing your own self. And so that's really important as well. Let me check in with Didi Abdallah and see if he has any questions. We do have a couple of questions in the question box. I'll check in with you first, Didi Abdallah. How are you doing, and you have any comments or questions?
Thank you, DT Makanki. Just go ahead with the questions that you have.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, so we have a great question from Toastmaster Khalil. Khalil is saying that some women who bring a positive change and challenge sometimes the social system without compromise, it results in them having a tough time, even within their own families. Sometimes as women, when we are pioneering, we think about a lot of women throughout history who have changed history, not just for women, but for all people. And the challenges, the great challenges that they've had to face, we face that same kind of challenge as women within Toastmasters. And his question is, what advice do you have for women who are pioneers, who are implementing change, but getting resistance not only inside Toastmasters, but sometimes in their family? Any advice for them?
Do you know, I come from the South in North Carolina, and when I was growing up, it was always seen that women didn't get as many opportunities in leadership as men did. And my mama told me that, Teresa, when you grow up, you can be and do whatever you want as long as you believe in yourself. And I think part of what our women and leaders are coming up against is when you are a pioneer, we have to accept that it's not going to be easy. Mm-hmm. But trying to do anything easy is not always the best way. I look at your elections just recently held, and that's like the beginning of something really big that's happening in Saudi Arabia. 20 women that have been elected in your local municipalities. So and those women haven't had it easy to be able to get onto that ballot and to make a change in their country. So making changes even within Toastmasters world, our Toastmasters world, I always look at finding a core group of people that will support me. And it may be that those people aren't in your family, that you have to go outside of your family circle and look for that mentor that believes in you as much as you believe in what you are able to do and able to make some changes with. I would say always keep true to your positivity. The more that we focus on the positive, the more that actually becomes a reality. And that's a proven fact. Anytime we focus on negatives, the more you focus on something negative, if you sit there and say, don't think about zebras, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to think about a zebra. So I would say think about positive change and focus your way of thinking that way, but surround yourself with those that believe in what you're trying to accomplish. Mm-hmm. Stay strong and ensure that you do have the support of those that care about you and that can be there when possibly someone really close to you feel like they can't. Making changes is definitely a teamwork effort with a good support system around you.
Great, thank you so much, DTM Teresa. DTM Abdullah, could you please check the chat window for an Arabic question? I need you to translate it for me so that we can get it answered for Toastmaster Shrouk, please. Thank you. And we'll go to another question. I'd like to ask you, what is it about being a Toastmaster that has kept you so active and passionate and committed after all these years? I think I already know the answer to it. You've said it before, but in all that you've said, but could you answer that question? What is it about that's keeping you active and passionate and pursuing various levels of leadership in Toastmasters?
I go all the way back to the first day I walked into my first Toastmasters club, and it was a scary day. It was being able to make some changes in my life and knowing that there are people around me that can help that happen in an encouraging and a positive way. So what keeps me in this organization is every time a new member walks through that door and they have the same wide-eyed, scared look in their eyes that I had the day that I walked through, and knowing that I can walk up to them and help them feel at ease, and that knowing if they decide this is where they want to be, that they're in store for a fantastic journey. I really do believe that our organization is growing and growing in a way that is going to change so many people's lives in a very, very positive way. And I just can't wait to be there to help make that change a reality. And that's why I keep going, finding ways that we can be even more successful for people who want that step up, who want to find their voice, who have a real cause that they want to have their voice heard for. Yeah.
I'd like to go back to the question raised by Toastmaster Khalil about challenges that some women can face amongst their family, resisting their participation in being agents of change or participating in Toastmasters. What I find, because I started a women's club last year, and some of my members told me that their spouses were not supportive. And what I found most common is that they just didn't understand Toastmasters. They didn't understand the benefits, the wide range benefits of being a Toastmaster, and how it would impact not only the member but the family as well. And once the spouse saw the enjoyment and the positive change of the member and how it did have far-reaching positive impact, they understood more and they support it more. So sometimes it's because of not knowing what Toastmasters is, and wanting to and not being the center of attention. Sometimes if we're not always at home, if we find something else to do that will benefit us in our own development, that can be a challenge for our spouses sometimes. But I think really once they understand the true benefit and the benefit that it is for everyone, they become supportive. I'm very blessed because I'm married to a Toastmaster who is very active and as active as I am. And it does make a difference, but it can also be beautiful when the spouse is not a Toastmaster, as long as they understand the benefits. Let's see, we have some questions. We want to start asking some questions about women's clubs. And Didi Abdallah, I'd like to invite you to ask some of your questions about that, because we have 36 women's clubs here in Saudi Arabia. And as you might imagine, DTM Teresa, our region is very prone to having gender-based clubs, women-only clubs particularly, because it supports the culture, it supports a lot of aspects in terms of women and the culture. And women, the women's club that I founded has given me so much insight into the rich benefit of it, without completely isolating ourselves from mixed gender, but giving ourselves a chance to be free to express ourselves and to without the attention being on mixed gender. So we want to develop more clubs and talk about the benefits of having women's only clubs without, and it does not imply that there's anything wrong with mixed gender clubs, but there is a special benefit for women that I find when we are able to develop ourselves inside women's only clubs. So what advice would you have? I know Didi Abdallah wanted to ask a couple of questions about this. Didi Abdallah, should I just allow you to ask your questions, or would you like me to ask them for you?
Yes, go ahead asking the questions, but I prefer to take some Arabic questions and we could translate them, because the Arab attendees are asking for interaction in Arabic to be translated.
Sure. So you get that started. I cannot help with that. So can you translate Toastmaster Shuruk's message? Did you see it?
Is she available?
Oh, you want to open the mic for her? Okay, yes. I sent her question to you because she didn't raise her hand.
I saw the points.
Okay, so you want me to invite her to talk on the mic?
Yeah, if she is available.
Okay, let me go to her. Toastmaster Shuruk, Assalamu alaikum. Your mic is open. Please go ahead and ask your question. And Didi Abdallah, maybe she doesn't understand anything I'm saying. Okay, you can talk to her, Didi Abdallah.
Toastmaster Shuruk.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
سعيدة جدا أن احنا نتواصل مع القيادات ما أعلى من القطاع. شيء جميل جدا أن نصل إلى هذا التواصل كأعضاء في نوادي توستماستر في قطاع 79. سؤالي لرئيسة الإقليم، مؤكد أنها مرت بفترات من النادي إلى الإقليم فترة طويلة جدا بمشوار مؤكد رائع، ومرت بالكثير. ما هي أهم قوة تملكها حتى وصلت إلى هذا الموقع؟ شكرا لكم.
Okay, شكرا Toastmaster Shuruk. The question to DTM Teresa. Do you hear me, DTM Teresa?
Yes, I hear you.
Yeah, the question from one of the club presidents, Arabic club, telling that what is the unique strength you have to go ahead from the club level to the international office. Unique strength.
Right, and that's a fabulous question. I think we all bring to the table something special, something that is different to anybody else. And when I made the decision to run for international director, I think the key thing that was really important for me was the passion and enthusiasm that I have for this organization, the ability to hone and direct my focus surrounding that enthusiasm specifically for what our members are looking for.
DTM Teresa, let's let him translate a little bit of that to Shuruq, and then you can finish.
Okay.
Thank you.
اوكي توستماستر شروق عندي الموجودين من العرب. هي بتقول ان الرحله في التوستماسترز ممتعه جدا، وهي في التوستماسترز لها 16 سنه تقريبا، والشيئين المهمه اللي تمتلكها وما زالت حريصه عليها هي الشغف بالعمل اللي هي بتسويه، الشغف والتفاؤل. فهذه الصفتين او القوتين الاكيده اللي خلتها تستمر في التوستماسترز وان تصل الى المراتب والمناصب العليا. Yes. Continue, DTM Teresa.
Okay. So with that passion and enthusiasm, it ensures that I can also use my own skills that I have in my toolkit. So my corporate background, the ability to emotionally connect with individuals, and the what should we say, the drive to make sure that we as an organization are reaching the goals that our members want. I want our organization to continue way past 100 years, and I think we can do that by ensuring that we are listening to all our members, exactly like what we're doing today.
اوكي، هي بتكمل على نفس النقاط، بتقول ان الصفتين هي الشغف والتفاؤل هي اللي خلتها مستمرة، اللي تتواصل مع الأعضاء، تتمنى للأعضاء أن يستفيدوا من كل التجارب، من كل الخبرات، وتتمنى أن التوست ماستر تستمر لمئات السنين القادمة. Yes.
Okay.
توست ماستر شروق باقي معنا؟
نعم تسمع. أعرف مميز عبد الله معكم. إجابة جدا رائعة وجدا رائعة. صحيح. طيب. أن الشرف العمل والتفاؤل هم الوقود الذي لا ينطفئ، فلا تنطفئ الشرارة أبدا. شكرا لكم.
ممتاز. Okay, go ahead, DTM Makanki. DTM Makanki.
Okay, yes. Thank you so much. Shukran, Toastmaster Shuruq. And now we'll take a question from Toastmaster Raju. He has his hand raised, and I'm going to open his mic. Toastmaster Raju, go ahead, please.
Thank you, DTM Makanki.
Welcome.
I would like to ask a question to DTM Teresa. As a leader, I'm a beginner in this Toastmasters Club. I have joined just 1 year back. So what advice would you give me as a participant who will be participating in the upcoming area contest? Thank you.
So you've been in the organization for 1 year and you are getting ready to participate in the contest.
Yes.
Okay. The piece of advice that I can give anybody who wants to go down that road is to ensure you have a coach. Work with people who have been there, who have done it, and who understand what it takes to get to that particular level. I would suggest that you go to as many club contests as you can, so that you can see your competition.
Sure.
And if you do make it to the next levels, it's every level you have to work to a different format, because a laugh or something that goes well in your club may be different when you get to your area level. So ensure that you understand the differences as you go up through the different levels, but work with somebody who's been there, who's done that. So, and I think you have somebody in your district that could help. Yeah.
Yes, sure. I just asked. Thank you
The
so
world
much.
champion of public speaking, Toastmaster Muhammad Katani. Let me ask Didi Abdallah to translate that question, if you think it would be a good question for the Arabic attendees. Didi Abdallah, would you like to translate that question and the answer?
يس DTM مكانكي. السؤال اللي كان من توسماس الراجو إنه هو سوف يشارك في مسابقات المنطقة، سوف يشارك في المسابقات القادمة للمنطقة والتي تؤهله إلى يعني الصعود إلى القسم والقطاع. فكان سؤاله ما هي النصيحة من DTM تيريزا للاستفادة من خبراتها للصعود والوصول إلى العالمية. فكانت نصيحتها أنها أولاً الاستعداد الجيد للمسابقات، وثانياً الاستفادة من خبرات المتواجدين سواء في الأندية أو في المنطقة أو في الأقسام أو في القطاع. فهذه النصيحة المفيدة للتوستماستر راجو ولجميع التوستماسترز: الإعداد الجيد والاستفادة من خبرات الممارسين السابقين الذين وصلوا إلى مراحل عليا في المسابقات. Okay, DTM مكانك.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to open the mic for Toastmaster Yahya. Toastmaster Yahya, thank you for participating. Your mic is open. Please go ahead and ask your question. Toastmaster Yahya, can you hear me? Your voice isn't coming through. Can you check your mic and then raise your hand again when you think you're ready? I'm going to come back to you. So just raise your hand again when you think you're ready to ask your question. Let me go to a question that we had already. Helen Blanchard is a pioneer, as you know, DTM Teresa, for women in Toastmasters. She was the first woman to break the men's-only barrier in 1970 by joining a men's-only club using a male name. And she was also the first woman to be elected as international president for Toastmasters. I think that was in 1985. That was a real game changer, if you will, or a real icebreaker, and we've come a long way since then. What do you think is the next barrier to break for Toastmasters as an organization? What do you think is the next barrier to be broken for Toastmasters as an organization?
Well, one of the most obvious things that comes to my mind is the first thing that comes to my mind, and I always say, go with the first thing that hits your head. Mm-hmm. I personally would love to see a female district director for Saudi Arabia, mm-hmm. and I would also then like to see that particular person or a future Saudi Arabia female leader on our international board. Mm-hmm. So whether they make it all the way to president or not, that would be fabulous as well. I mean, and that's sort of a no-brainer when we think about it, because we actually, like Vicky said, there are no barriers for us in this organization, really. We should be open to anybody and everybody who wants to get into whatever leadership position they want to achieve. Mm-hmm. Some of the other barriers that I think that we're going to come up against is reaching out to our true international families and ensuring that they are getting the training that they need. And I think we're on the right track for that. The biggest barrier we're coming up with at the moment is the revitalized educational program. So that is probably our biggest barrier we're going to have to overcome is changing the program to what we have known for the past 90 years to something that is new, exciting, and will be the future for this organization.
Thank you very much. Let's get Didi Abdallah to translate that for the attendees.
اوكي كان السؤال ان فيه يعني التوست ماسترز العالميه من بدايه انشائها كانت تحظر على المراه الدخول في التوست ماسترز، وفي عام 1976 كانت في احدى النساء يعني تحدت هذا الحظر ودخلت باسم رجل، انضمت الى التوست ماسترز باسم رجل، وبدات تدعو إلى عدم التمييز والتفرقة بين الرجال والنساء، وأثبتت وجودها في التوست ماسترز، وصعدت إلى أن وصلت إلى رئيس العالم للتوست ماسترز. فهذا السؤال كانت الإجابة من DTM تريزا أن التوست ماسترز البيئة خصبة وجميلة ولا تفرق بين القدرات الرجالية والقدرات النسائية، وتدعو الجميع أن ينضم إلى التوست ماسترز والاستفادة من كل المناصب سواء على مستوى النادي، المنطقة، القسم، القطاع، تتمنى أن توصل المرأة السعودية العضو السعودية إلى مناصب عالمية، على الأقل أن تكون عضو في البورد العالمي. وهذا ما نتمنى، يعني نتمنى من العضوات اللي موجودات معنا الآن أنهم يواصلوا ويشدوا حيلهم ويوصلوا إلى مراكز أعلى من القطاع. أوكي في مكانك.
Thank you very much. I'm going to open the mic now for Toastmaster Shuruk again. She's put some Arabic comments or questions in the window, and I'm going to just open her mic so she can ask them because I can't read them. Toastmaster Shuruk, assalamu alaikum.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. سؤالي هو دائما يقال إن ما بعد التوست ماستر إذا وصلنا إلى أعلى مرتبة في التوست ماستر نتوقف، فماذا ستقدم توست ماستر أو عريف مميز DTM تريزا بعد هذه السنة للتوست ماستر السنة القادمة؟ هل ستعود إلى النادي أم تنطلق إلى العالم الخارجي أم ما هي المخططات القادمة؟ شكرا لكم.
شكرا.
Okay, the question to DTM Teresa that you are now the international director for 2 years, 15 to 17. What is your plan after completing your term as international director? Are you going to continue for the other positions, or you will go back to the club and your district, or you will quit Toastmasters and go for your own business?
It's a great question. When you get to a certain leadership level, you make a conscious decision that, hey, I'm going to, these 2 years I will dedicate specifically for the international director's role, and I will give my all to everything that we as an organization want to accomplish. Going forward from there will depend on what our members want, and this was one of the decisions I had to make when I ran this past August, because I was unsuccessful 2 years ago in Cincinnati, and I had to make a decision: do I put myself forward and do this again, risking rejection? But when you look at where we were 2 years ago, I took 49% of the vote, and that said to me that the members wanted me in this leadership position. So it will depend in 2 years' time what our members are looking for in a leader for that next level. And if they want me to be in that position, then I will say yes to that opportunity. But at the moment, I'm still a part of our club, a part of our district, and I'm highly active in every aspect of Toastmasters, so I definitely won't be walking away.
Okay, thank you DTM Teresa for your answer, and I will translate your answer. الإجابة توستماستر شروق بتقول الآن هي بتخدم في العضو كبورد السنتين القادمة 2015 إلى 2017، وسوف تحدد موقفها إذا كانت تستمر أو لن تستمر في المناصب العليا للتوست ماسترز خلال السنة القادمة. إذا كان الأعضاء بيساعدونها وهم يبغون فعلا أنها تستمر معاهم وتكون هي جزء من القيادات العليا، فسوف تأخذ هذه الخطوة بمساعدة الأعضاء وانتخاب الأعضاء لها. وإذا لم يكن يرغب الأعضاء في استمراريتها فهي الآن عضو فاعل سواء في النادي أو في المنطقة أو في القسم أو في القطاع اللي تتبع له، وسوف تستمر فاعلة كما هي. Yes.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Didi Abdallah, for translating for us. I'd like to, in the same line of talking about the questions we've addressed just now, women leaders from Saudi Arabia being district director, being regional advisor, and going on up the ladder or down the ladder, depending on how you look at our structure and organization. But in terms of leadership progress, how can we help? And this is a question from Didi Abdallah, DTM Teresa. How can we help the women here develop? What are the requirements for that kind of leadership trajectory? Some of us, we have no idea about the concept of leaders beyond, as I said earlier, sometimes just the club, but some of us have an idea of what district directors do. But what is it that you would say we should prepare? How should we prepare ourselves as women to embrace these higher roles? Any advice any advice you would give to us?
Okay, and I think this is something that everybody, every leader, can benefit from. When I was coming up through the ranks, and even as a club treasurer, everybody said, read the manual. Make sure you have as much knowledge as possible about how our organization runs. Because if you are the person that has that knowledge, then people will come to you with those questions. Well, Teresa, how do I run for area governor or area director? What do I have to do? If I want to be a DTM, what are the categories I have to follow? What are the loops or hoops I have to go through? So knowledge is your first step. I think second step is making sure that you have a mentor that understands the organization as well, so they can help guide you. I said in the beginning I had 5 different mentors, and they helped me in 5 different areas of this organization. So it's keeping someone strong beside of you who understands this organization as well, and they can be your ambassador.
Okay.
Those are 2 possibles.
Okay, Didi Abdallah, you can translate that for us, and then we'll make some final comments or take one last question. Could you translate that one for us, for our Arabic attendees, please?
Sure. السؤال كان إن كيف نستطيع أن نساعد العضوة في قطاع المملكة العربية السعودية للوصول إلى المناصب العليا في التوست ماستر، سواء على مستوى القطاع أو خارج مستوى القطاع. فكانت الإجابة يعني هي تدرجت، دي تيم تريزا تدرجت من بدايات النادي من مسؤولة الخزينة وإلى أن وصلت إلى ما وصلت عليه الآن. وكانت تقول إن شغلتين مهمة جدا جدا جدا. الشغلة الأولى هي المعرفة. لازم الواحد أو العضو سواء أو العضوة يقرأ الأدلة والقوانين والإجراءات والسياسات للتوست ماسترز، لازم يكون مرجع. هذه النقطة الأولى، المعرفة والقراءة لجميع سياسات وإجراءات وأدلة التوست ماسترز العالمية. النقطة الثانية وجود الموجه. وجود الموجه اللي يرجع له العضو ويسأله عن كل شغلة. يبغى يحقق الدي تيم، ما هي الخطوات لتحقيق الدي تيم؟ يبغى يرشح نفسه لرئيس منطقة أو رئيس قسم أو رئيس قطاع، ما هي الخطوات للترشيح والوصول إلى هذه المناصب؟ وذكرت شغلة مهمة، تقول إن عندها 5 موجهين، لديها 5 موجهين من مناطق مختلفة، فليس موجه واحد وإنما 5 موجهين. Yes, DTM مكانك.
Thank you very much, Didi Abdallah. I'd like to just check quickly to see if we have any hands raised. There is a hand raised by someone. I can't see their name. I'm going to, okay, it looks like they're not fully in the room. It's interesting. Okay, so there are no hands raised and no questions in the box. So I'd like to go back to something that you said earlier, DTM Teresa. I think it would be helpful to all of us. And this was mentioned before in terms of we're all different personalities, and sometimes there will be conflict. What would you say is the best way to manage conflict amongst diverse groups in order for the group to see the one vision and to work towards the vision for the greater good of the district, for example? It can be saddening and disheartening to see people get bogged down into the many disagreements that and those many disagreements can cause big stagnation. So could you give some advice for our multicultural district on how to move forward as one when we find conflict, how to manage that?
Okay, and it's not a easy answer, this one.
Okay.
Conflict management is probably one of the biggest areas that everybody struggles with, whether you're in a small company, you're in a corporation, or you're in a not-for-profit organization such as ours. Conflict is all about a lack of understanding. It's a miscommunication. And the sooner you can catch it as a group, the better it will be going forward. So if you notice that there are personality clashes or differences of opinions that are beyond a positive solution in the short term, it's my first advice would be to take it offline, to pull the individual parties together so that they can have a chance to discuss with a mediator what's going on, because I think, you know, the two people that are going to disagree obviously aren't going to solve their problem by themselves. So it needs to be a proper mediation process. And this is something we did in District 71 as well. When there was such a conflict, we had a mediator come in and oversee the discussion.
Okay.
And that helps you find a positive way forward.
Okay, so a mediator and taking it offline and trying to resolve it with support from someone who's objective.
Yes.
Okay, great. Didi Abdallah, do you want to translate that? We have 3 minutes left, or do you want to translate that and then we'll close out, or do you have a burning question that you'd like to ask? What do you think is best?
I will translate and I will ask my question.
Okay.
Both.
Okay.
كان السؤال إذا وجدت خلافات بين المجموعات ما هو الطريق أو ما هي الطريقة الناجعة والصحيحة لحل هذه الخلافات؟ فذكرت دي تيم تريزا أن الخلافات عادة تنشأ بين المجموعات بسبب عدم الوضوح الموقف في العموم، بسبب عدم معرفة أحد الأطراف بالواقع، وكذلك عدم وجود التواصل الفعال. وطرحت حل أحد الحلول أن يكون هناك وسيط لحل هذا الخلاف، ويكون حل الخلاف بعيدا عن الجميع، يعني يكون بين فقط الأطراف المختلفة ولا يدعى لهذا الخلاف أناس آخرين. فكان هذا الحل أو الاقتراح من دي تيم تريزا لحل الخلافات. Okay, my question, DTM Teresa, that we are targeting to reach to 100 ladies clubs in Saudi Arabia. What do you suggest for us to reach to this goal?
Okay. The fact that you've actually made that a goal is your first step. And that's brilliant, because I always say putting a stake in the ground is your first way of saying, yes, this is a real goal. What I would like to know, how many women are on this phone call? Do we know? We had 56% of people on this call are women. So if that equates to, if we have 100 people here, that's 56 women that you have on this call. If you want to reach 100 women's clubs in District 79, then every single woman on this call needs to start thinking about starting a club. And the other 44% of men need to support them. And that will actually start the ball rolling to get you to that 100 clubs of women clubs. Does that help?
That's beautiful.
Great answer, yes.
Translate that, please.
I can translate it later on. Let's.
Okay, all right. Okay, so it's 4 o'clock. I want to thank you, DTM Teresa, our International Director for Region 11, for being with us today and sharing your lessons learned on your journey and helping us to understand the acronym LADY, and teaching us to be good listeners and helping us to be approachable, teaching us the value of being decisive and being ourselves. I want to thank DTM Vicky, who had to leave us early, for taking time also to be one of our participants as the Region 11 advisor. You are two dynamic women who we depend on in our district to support us and to support the organization towards its vision and achieving its goal for women and for all Toastmasters. We admire you and we are inspired by your leadership, and we appreciate you being here today. Didi Abdallah, I want to thank you for your commitment to our district and to all members, and especially your commitment to wanting us to get to 100 clubs, and your commitment to the Arabic audience as well. Thank you so much for the value you bring to us as the leader of our district, and we support you. And thank you all. Have a great afternoon and rest of the weekend, and we look forward to 2 sessions. I want to let everyone know that going forward, DTM Teresa and DTM Vicky have agreed to do separate webinars on topics of leadership. DTM Teresa is going to do a session called the Leadership Compass, which is about teamwork, and DTM Vicky is going to do a webinar on leadership in a multicultural environment. So we look forward to that, and we'll announce those dates as soon as we get them. Thank you all very much. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.